This is Kitten Features, and you're listening to Show X Live with Ken in his student accommodation all the way in Scotland, and Wayne in his white windowless van? Uh-oh, I better get out of here. Enjoy the show!
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Show X on VTWProductions.com. Welcome to the show, everybody, as I'm running around and trying to finish getting all these last-minute things going. Things have been interesting today. We are joined this week by, as always... What just happened here? That's what happened. Sorry, I'm listening to multiple things on top of myself as I'm trying to get all the last details going, because I totally forgot about the Alpha Geek radio stream as I was doing this.
Sir, no matter how hard you try, you will not make the show more technically redundant than I did last week. You just can't do it. Just stop trying. Just go back to the normal. You'll do fine, okay? You can't beat me.
Yeah, I cannot make this any worse than you had it last week. The one advantage is the difference in guests that we have as we get started here, because last week you had a special guest that we don't normally have on the show, and someone that's true. We're trying to say, hey, let's do some great things with Molly Lewis, and you had the technical difficulties. I think the challenge is we just aren't allowed to have a show where we're able to show her face properly, that in reality it's just like, no, it's some like, I don't know, conundrum of the interwebs where Molly Lewis is not allowed to be visualized while on our show, and therefore everything must break.
Yeah, I blame the Scottish interwebs, and also thousands and thousands of chinchillas.
The chinchillas. How are left and right doing?
It's actually left, right, and also your shoes now as well, but we'll get into that a bit later.
Oh, I cannot wait to hear. In the meantime, we are still joined by a special guest today, which must be why things are not working perfectly, and why, on the video stream, you're only going to see Ken's lovely face and long beard versus myself or our guest, as we are joined today by our good friend, Mr. Octale. How are you doing today, sir?
Yo, 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 yo. What's up?
Oh, boy.
You know what? I am feeling better than I have felt in a long, long time. And I'm not going to lie about that. It might have something to do with my immigration status.
Really?
But I'm not sure.
Are you now allowed in the U.S. legally? That's brilliant, sir. Well,
yes, I'm getting kicked out of the United States. Fortunately enough, I found a new country to move to.
Come on. Where are you going then?
No, so my immigration paperwork to Norway came in about 2 months ago, and so I'm putting the finishing touches on my move. In mid-month April, I will be in Norway full time. So
woo-hoo!
I am moving internationally. I am now an immigrant. So every time I look at the progressive stack, I can't help but think about the theme from the Jeffersons. Moving on up to the east side, to a deluxe apartment in the sky.
Very nice.
That way
sir.
I can talk about things like gaming and whatnot, and everybody has to listen to me because I'm higher on the progressive stack than Anita Sarkeesian.
Oh. How to make yourself infinitely more relevant.
Tim Schafer can shove his hand up my ass and rub me like a puppet at GDC.
Nice.
Yes, Minister of Vaporware he is.
Well, if you guys don't follow Octale on Twitter, you need to now.
My name is no longer the Octale on Twitter. My name is now Aggressive Jazz Hands.
So this episode of Your Opinion is Wrong has been revived from the dead by Mr. Octale here, so that we can discuss SJWs in graphic detail.
No, we won't go there much. I can't promise we won't go there at all. I'm just saying we won't go there much. Well, I was applauding clapping my hands during the introduction music because it was really, really groovy, and then I realized I had a window open, so I probably triggered like 8 people.
So I actually know this reference. So anybody who isn't actually aware, I believe it was an NUS women's conference last week, where one of the speakers requested that the audience does not clap for the entire event because it's a trigger for her. So the entire world needed to shift because she was too much of a baby to put up with clapping.
Oh boy!
I agree with what you say. Jazz hands.
So that was the alternative, of course. The logical alternative to clapping is everybody do aggressive jazz hands.
Yep, and that's my new name. By the way, very ironic because I'm triggered by aggressive jazz hands.
And the sad part is the trigger is a fist just kind of flails forward towards where the center of wherever said jazz heads are.
That's right. It triggers my inner DDPYoga, and I just punch in the general direction of wherever the jazz hands are coming from. Just BAM!
Ah, my God. So and anyone doesn't know what a trigger is as well, good for you. Stop listening to the show. We're going to corrupt your mind.
Stop immediately. There's no such thing as Tumblr.com.
Oh, God.
Don't go there. It's the Mos Eisley Cantina of the internet. Just stay away.
So triggers, and the theory of triggers is basically if you have gone through a traumatic experience, for example, you've been at war, or you've been, I don't know, attempted to assassination, or you've been raped, or something horrible has happened to you, something in real life can set that off. So for soldiers, maybe it could be fireworks going off, and they start having a panic attack because they think, oh man, freaking gunfire, oh no, my friends died, and all this stuff, and you can understand that kind of thing.
It's essentially,
you have people.
It's a reaction to something where it's not like you, it almost in a way throws you right back to the event that initially caused the dramatic, the trauma that you ran into.
The important distinction in that is that Ken said, been in war. And witnessed, death and stuff.
So that's fairly different from visiting Tumblr.com and somebody saying that they don't like your opinion. And people frequently find that that's very triggering to disagree with them and say that you're offending them, and therefore they win the argument.
Okay, you're right. And I wish I had I wish I had the intro music for your opinion is wrong, basically, at this point, because this is not a subject I want to steer away from or be afraid of type thing.
But I don't also want to derail the show either, because train derailments are triggering as well.
So this goes into something that has been a definite touch point for me, where it seems more and more, and I see it in different cultures that I'm a part of or that I get to experience the people from, where it's like we are creating one of the most sensitive BS societies I've ever experienced in the world, where, holy crap, if anything happens that might be the least bit negative from anyone's perspective, then somehow it's wrong and should not exist in this world, because that's reality. And it pisses me off that I would say a vocal minority in this case is what I would probably is how I would classify it.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of people in San Francisco and Boston, so don't sell them short.
Well, so the challenge is I don't even think it's representative of what we would consider hotbed cities, right? That have specific, this city is known for having things that they're very adamant about. Even if I were to look at the Boulder area of town here in Colorado, I don't think you would find a majority of people that are worried about being, triggered off of every little thing that happens in life.
That's fair.
I have to agree with Wayne. I think that there's a vocal minority, and I have to say, it seems of course, it's horrible for people to ever have any situation which they feel extremely hurt and have panic attacks and stuff, and that's horrible. Whatever you have been through that causes that must have been something traumatic. If it's not, and there are a lot of people who are doing this because there's a lot of proven cases, it becomes like you are actually making people who actually go through these traumatic experiences have less of a claim on it. So if you're saying you're triggered and
what's
scared,
happening, people have done something, and I've heard it stated in a way that I kind of agree with, and I will first thing say, I believe traumatic experiences and having triggers is a real thing. And I am sensitive to the people that have gone through it. But one of the, a post I saw on Facebook or something from someone, I forget who it was, that I thought was brilliant it said, stop trying to glorify or romanticize things like being sensitive to anything. Stop trying to, it's people that have panic attacks, people that get depression, people that, literally that go through all these traumatic things and have trouble coping with the world. And the reason that came up is I do really believe there are too many people in society who see the attention and sympathy that people get that have gone through these traumatic experiences and wish for that kind of same treatment to themselves, and therefore overemphasize little BS things they have and they endure to make it seem like that's the same level of, oh my God, it's the end of the world.
Two things about that. Number one, don't forget the money.
That's true.
You can't forget the money, right? Like, I made a Choose Your Own Adventure e-reader, and somebody had the courage to say that it's not a game, and I claimed harassment, and now I'm good for $40,000 a year. Ugh. So, I mean, don't forget the money. Two, I forgot two. Two's gone. Never mind then.
Following Wayne's point.
I'm sorry. Yeah, now I remember. I've had one, a panic attack, and I had it in public. And ouch. I can tell you that is it's a very real and a very scary and a very I was in the middle of the grocery store when it happened. And I got back in the dairy department. This is so I shake my head at it because I'm describing it and it sounds ridiculous to me. But I got back into the dairy department, and as soon as I walked into the cheese aisle, I had this overwhelming, real sense that somebody was going to kill me in the dairy department of the grocery store. To the point where, like, I had to grab a gallon of milk and some shredded cheese, and I bolted for the door.
Wow.
Like, tight-chested, just like fight or flight response went full-on flight. Like, you have got to get out of this place right now.
So the thing is, we are animals, right? And we have instincts. So whatever the situation is, and I'm not going to press for your details for whatever did traumatize you in the past that you probably were reminded of, these things happen to people because we are animals and we have these instincts, and we say, oh, I'm in a situation that reminds me of the time where I had a horrible experience previously, and now I am scared and frightened and I want to get out of here. And it's a totally understandable response, right? Same with the woman at the NUS thing. If she genuinely has a problem, she needed help. Psychological help. She needed therapy, and she needed like doctors to talk to her. Because if clapping is setting you off, you really need some help. You cannot go into public. You can't go to your job. Like, clearly you are in desperate need of psychological help.
How do you go and watch a ball game?
Yeah, well, so that there's real fears for
I
things
guess
where
maybe
people
you don't
dealing
go to
with
ball games because ball games
right?
are sexist or something.
It's a whole different issue. Well, and it sucks because there's so many levels of this that we're seeing in society today. I'm trying to figure out still how I want to react to the situation in Silicon Valley, right? The gal that had complained that she got bypassed for promotion in her job because of sexism in the workplace. Well, it went through a six-week trial, came out, and it was decided by the jury that was 6 guys, 6 girls, saying no, they didn't find any signs of discrimination in the way the hiring practice worked.
Is that the $144 million in compensatory damages and the $16 million in lost wages? Is it that one?
I don't know what the money behind it was. I did not follow it enough. I remember when it first came up, and I now have heard about it again since it's been resolved. Okay. And the thing that I focused on specifically as it's been resolved was all these people crying out, and this is where I get my problem with it, because this went through the legal system, and a verdict was rendered that stated no fault had happened.
Yep.
And so after all that's been said and done, the public that responded, the vocal minority, came out saying, it's not over yet. Things are not fair. We're still going to fight for better equality in this situation because that was wrong. And it pisses me off, and it goes into a situation that was very similar to, there was a great quote I saw. Again, thank you, social media and the people I follow, because they send me some of the best quotes I've ever seen. But this is from, was it Neil deGrasse, the guy, the scientist?
Yeah, Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah.
That he put out there and said, it was one that was based on science, where people basically are now no longer picking and choosing what science to follow. Yeah. And in doing so, he said, no, science doesn't work that way. Science is fact. You don't just suddenly go in there and say, nope, gravity is invalid. I gained 10 pounds. I no longer believe in it.
No, but now postmodernism says that there are no such thing as objective truth.
Oh,
right?
God, that's a whole...
We know that's all garbage, right? A force of gravity. Here's a thought experiment for everybody. You can do this in the comfort of your own home. Ken can do it from the comfort of his chair. Ready, Ken? Because we can all see you on the video wall. This is why this is going to be great video evidence of what I'm talking about. Okay, Ken, are you ready?
Oh,
I need you to close your eyes. And at the count of 3, I need you to believe, and I mean really believe, that there's
Okay.
no such thing as gravity. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Believe it, son. Believe it. Nah, you're... nah!
Well played.
Well played.
Visual gimmicks. Visual gimmicks.
Well played. Well played.
Yes, for those actually watching...
That's the point, right? I mean, for those of you not watching at home, Ken raised it up on his chair
Yeah.
to give you the impression that he was floating when in fact no such thing was happening. Because gravity is an objective truth. Like, it's there because you exist.
Yeah, exactly. The fact that, I don't know, everything that we've tested supports it shows that, there you go, deal with it.
And the
that's
big problem is extreme ignorance towards the understanding of the word theory. When people don't understand what a theory is, like a scientific theory is a lot different from general English word theory, which means
general, I just came up with something.
supposition.
Sure.
Yeah, this is an idea, it's just a maybe. No. In science terms, most theories are verified and backed up by several other founded claims. So gravity is a theory because it was backed up by so many other things. It is verified. It's sorted. We're done. We agree that as long as everything else that we know of our science is correct, then gravity is true as well. So that goes with having the sun in the sky. It's there. It's not actually just really small next to our faces all the time. It's actually up there, right? If all that stuff's true, then gravity is true.
Right.
So you need to understand the word theory before you can understand anything else in this argument.
I got you. I got another one that's a little bit more abstract, but every finite set has a least element.
Okay.
Right? Universally true. Pick a group, and by the way, it works for people too. Pick any group of 2, and one will be less than the other, or a group of 3, or a group of 4, or a group of 5, or whatever. Right? I mean, if you try to build a set that doesn't have a least element, it's an infinite set. Like, those are the 2 options. So until we redefine mathematics and set theory, like, that is always true, that a finite set has a least element. Finite set also has a maximal element. They're part of the definition of what makes a set. Or corollaries that fall out immediately from saying I have a finite set.
Sure.
So again, universal truisms that are.
It's easy, like, so I did a philosophy module at uni, so allow me to do my spiel here, right? It's easy to go into the sort of Descartes side of all this and say, well, objective truths are dependent on what we can truly know. What do you truly know? Because everything's a sensory input to your mind, and therefore we can't truly know anything outside of our mind. All we know is that we exist. That's the one final objective truth that we know, is that I exist. Even if you're a brain in a vat somewhere, even if you're not actually a human being, even if you're just hooked up to a giant supercomputer, all you know is that that exists at least. Your consciousness exists, nothing else definitely does. However, in the real world, we just kind of go, assuming everything that we see, touch, feel, consents, etc., in whatever way is real, then we can continue any other argument in the world. So whenever you talk to any philosopher, you have to first of all say, assuming sensory input is an objective truth, let's continue this argument. Right?
Oh, great. So if you're saying that my walls aren't real, I'm going to go put my fist through one. It's not real. It's going to revert back to normal when I pull my fist out of it.
It's the Matrix, everyone. It's just the Matrix.
Indeed.
It goes back to cat? One of the challenges we're running into is society today keeps failing to understand what it's doing to itself. In that, as we continue to try to nerf what interactions people run into as they develop in life, therefore not having the ability to learn the skills necessary to deal with them, it's going to keep persisting into a point where we keep creating people that we're going to let out into society at some point, and are going to scream foul when everything doesn't cater to the experience they hope to get. When they're not instantly given successful six-figure jobs, the love of their life, the perfect place to live, and never deal with any kind of negativity in their life in the future ever, they're going to go be like, I don't understand, the world's mean and wrong, and this shouldn't be this way. But that's the reality, and it doesn't matter what you want the world to be like. Reality is, it is a conflict-oriented experience. We learn from the negativity that goes into how we deal with everyday life, from things like sitting out in the sun too long, getting a sunburn, to, I don't know, trying to stay underwater longer than I can breathe and, I don't know, drowning, dying. There's, as Octale, as you specifically said, there are universal truths, right? There's things that are just absolutely true about the way the world works, and until we can get to a place where people no longer strive for being any better than anyone else, you're always going to have conflict. So the idea that we're allowing these vocal minorities to come up and basically bitch about things like, I need a safe room out in the corner where everyone can just go and sit on little fluffy pillows and pet puppies. If I hear an opinion that is too negative or opposing to what I want to believe, just so I can go deal with the world. Get over it. That's not reality, and that's not how the world really works.
Sure, but by the same token, there's nothing that says that when you own a space, you can't spend whatever resources you have in order to make that space that you own comforting to you, right?
Oh,
that's the whole concept of the home.
Oh yes, and that's what I say. I caveat my whole overall opinion of how the world should work is that what happens in your own home, for the most part, I'm like, that's all your business. Do with as you will, as long as you're not negatively impacting other people in your own home.
Right,
Outside in society, we have to have our basic laws and things that allow people to not murder each other just because they want something you have. So we have our basic rules in society. This is how, and it's my belief in the reason of laws in general and morality, is you have to have some mechanism that allows a group of people to be able to function with each other without all just offing each other. But beyond that, it should be, yes, you have control of your home life. Outside of that, you have to play by a base level of rules that keeps people from killing each other. And beyond that, it's kind of free game.
Yep. So I was talking to a chap this weekend, actually. If we ever do get into dysfunctional deviations, I will go into that further. There's this guy I know who's from South Africa, right? He was born there but raised in Britain, but occasionally goes back to visit family and the likes. And he was saying how crazy it is there because the rules of society are completely different. It's a different continent, it's a different world from the West. Down there, everything is a little bit different, a little bit scarier. So if you're in the main city, often it's a little bit safer than elsewhere. But if you're in the rural countryside, in some places in Africa, in Zimbabwe especially apparently, if you go to any village, there are laws technically, but there's no police force and nobody enforces them, and therefore it's all dependent on who owns the land and who has the biggest guns. That is the entire world there. So no rule or construct about having your own home or anything matters there. It's something we're very lucky to have in the West. Now, aside from this, I'd like to also mention Bio's hilarious comment in the IRC. Gravity is a social construct meant to hold the oppressed down to earth.
Oh, it's all about power structures.
It's true. It's true. Thank you for that, Bio.
So, Octale, I do appreciate you bringing that up because it's something that I think I might have even picked an article on just in general where I wasn't sure how much I wanted to speak on it. Now, maybe I avoided it for that reason, but it's something that I've been seeing multiple times in the news lately, and I've seen different examples of it that have just continued to piss me off, and it makes no sense to me how people can't understand that you cannot create a perfectly non-combative world. You can't create an experience for people that no one ever suffers anything negative.
Ooh, so this is tangentially related to it, and I guess we can talk about it now since I sort of opened by mocking the outer party of Soap Juss. But did you see the story that hit in the last week or so where Gen Con threatened to pull their money from the Indianapolis Convention Center if the governor signed into law the Religious Freedom Saving Our Religious Freedom Act of Death, Destruction, and Doom?
Freedom to treat corporations as individuals when it comes to religious beliefs.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we have there's a lot of aspects to this, and I'm gonna throw mine out there so that I don't have to talk about it in other forums. And two things. One, Gen Con knew what kind of state Indiana was when they decided Milwaukee wasn't good enough for them anymore. So if you look at the voting record of Indiana for like the last bazillion years, they're a conservative state. So it stands to reason that they're going to pass conservative laws, because the representatives that are elected by a conservative group of people are going to be conservative, and therefore are going to try and write conservative laws and get them passed into law. So this should come as no surprise to anybody at Gen Con.
Well, you say that, but the surprise is that someone was actually going to go so far as to write a law that states that you can now legally discriminate against people based on religious beliefs and claim religious beliefs as your safety net.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that's the challenge, because you can't say that. Well, because you can't say that any group would therefore need to, avoid every conservative state in the country because there's a potential they may eventually pass some insane, unconstitutional law. And in doing, in that sense. And so I think it's completely understandable that they reacted like, whoa, now you guys are going a bit too far. This seems ridiculous to us, and we are not going to support it.
Well, okay, so that said, Gen Con has the right and the ability when their contract's up to take their business anywhere they want to, right?
Yes.
So they're
Sure.
under contract with the Indianapolis Convention Center until something like 2020, I think, is when the contract expires. Or if Gen Con has the financial ability to buy their way out of the contract or break the contract, they have the right to do that too and take their business elsewhere. But what I don't understand is where the campus left soak just San Francisco elitists decided that they're allowed to impose their sense of morality and ethics onto the rest of the world en total. Like, we didn't suffer that crap when it was religious people doing it, and it was coming from the right, and we said, no, don't you push your morality on me. You practice what you want to practice in the safety of your own home, or in the safety of your church or your congregation or whatever. For the religious folks out there, do what you do, but don't impose it on me. This is the exact same thing coming from a different political ideology, and I don't understand why it's acceptable this time around and it wasn't acceptable when it was coming from the other direction.
It's definitely double standards, and it's something interesting that I was actually bringing up this weekend as well, to a friend, is that anything that you are born with cannot be discriminated against, right? So if you're born with a disability, you can't exactly go mock somebody for that, right? If they're born with a different skin color, you can't go mock them for that. If they're born male or female, again, this is all stuff you're born with, can't exactly be helped, so not something you can mock them for. However, if it's anything you choose in life, anything that you actively choose as an adult can be criticized. So be that your decisions on whether you're left-wing, right-wing, whether you decide that you are pro or anti gay rights and stuff, whatever you want on that side, technically you're allowed all that stuff. You're allowed your opinion. That also goes for religion as well, though.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, exactly. You choose your religion, right? You're not born with your religion, as many people think you are. You're not. You choose that as an adult. When you're 18 plus, you have that say over yourself. In the West, anyway.
Now, in response to what you're saying, Octale, about why are we suffering for it from a corporation, I will say the difference is the corporations are saying that they dislike a law that they see as being discriminatory, that allows for open discrimination. And that's what they're pressing. Because I agree with you.
Take your business elsewhere, right?
Which companies are doing.
Fine, good for them. I'm not saying they shouldn't, and I'm not saying I agree with the law, because I don't. What I'm saying is the people of the state of Indiana have the right to elect representatives to pass and enact laws that are in the same general ideology as the people who elected them in the first place. And if the people of Indiana decide they want this religious freedom, I'm allowed to discriminate based on the basis of religion type of law, they should be allowed to have that law. On the other hand, if a convention like Gen Con wants to go someplace else, then they have the right to go someplace else.
You're right, and that is what's happening. At the same time, it's, I think, every right of that same corporation to explain why they're going to do that.
Oh, yeah, fair enough, yes.
And so for them to say we're against this law and because of it we're going to look at moving elsewhere, that I think is just fine.
But
because I don't see them going so far beyond that to say that
they are not. I guess my point is that should end the conversation, right? The state of Indiana is passing this law and we don't like it and we're taking our business elsewhere, period, end.
That I can agree with.
Or do it as a conditional. If the state of Indiana enacts this law, then we will seriously consider when our contract is up taking our business elsewhere. Or if the state of Indiana passes this law, we will break the contract that we have and compensate the Indianapolis Convention Center, for the rest of the contract and take our business elsewhere. Like I am okay with having that discourse. What I'm not okay with is saying, hey, state of Indiana, you can't pass this law because reasons. Right? That's the problem that I have, and that's where I think the line is. Like, if Gen Con, the company, wants to go someplace else, fine, great. Please do.
See, I have a challenge with that because while I overall agree with you, Octale, the challenge I have is that I think as a whole, trying to ensure that no state or the government at large enacts anything that enforces discrimination seems like something that is within the construct of what we want our government doing. And maybe I'm off base with that.
So a government is effectively a group of people who... So a bunch of people move to a country or a state or a landmass or whatever, both for all matters, and they together say, we want to say that these people can make rules for us because they represent all of us. And in theory, no matter what that's going to be, they're representative of the people, right? So they should be in the right to do that. However, the way that it's done, from what I can... Again, I am not a US citizen, please tell me if I'm wrong. From what I've seen of US law, and I did study it a little bit, is that you guys have some federal stuff above that to say, hey, if you guys are going to do any of that discrimination stuff, the whole country's against that. Let's not do that stuff. So how come that's not the case for this state?
Well, so it's going to get challenged in the courts and probably get struck down on constitutional grounds anyway.
Okay.
So, I mean, ultimately, we're making a big deal out of this for what amounts to absolutely nothing. But it's a... Well,
not at all. This is something that people should be annoyed about. Of course, this is our right to.
Well, I mean, obviously we've got the right to talk about it. I'm just saying that what the end state that we're going to be at after the lawyers all get paid is the same state that we were in 2 months ago, and the only thing that will happen is a bunch of resources went to one set of people, and everybody else is out a bunch of resources.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? I mean, that's where this ends if you want to run this game to its conclusion. And really, so the state law in Indiana is really a state application of a federal law that was passed in 93, if I recall correctly, and signed into law by President Clinton. It's the Defense of Religious Freedom Act or something like that. I can look it up when we get a chance, but... and so there was a thing that said that you couldn't be applied federally, or because it was a federal law, it couldn't be applied to individual states. So then a bunch of states turned around and passed the exact same or slight variations on the exact same law to apply to their states. Regardless, chances are this is going to get struck down in a court challenge. Chances are that Gen Con will move. Chances are it's going to get big enough that they don't want to stay in Indianapolis anyway. So this might be a convenient out for them. rather than saying we're too big for Indianapolis, just like we got too big for Milwaukee. And yes, I'm bitter.
Fair.
So in any event, I
see what you're saying, Octale, and I don't disagree as most of the whole argument, because I don't like any, for one, any corporation dictating how things are, since they are not people, and I really wish our country and laws would understand that. You may have people
the Supreme
running
Court
it,
said they are people.
and
I
just
kind
agree
of disagree
heavily.
in some ways. I think if a company, for example, is it Gucci and Cabana, whatever they're called, I'm not much into fashion, but I've read this whole thing about them getting kind of smited down by it's Elton John, I think, for their anti-gay beliefs. And as the owners of that company, they're welcome to have their beliefs, of course. How it affects their sales is also, their own stupidity if they want to come out and say, we hate gays, by the way.
Well, so it's
if
funny,
they
you
want
gotta be
to just
careful how you
stop
say
making
that,
money
Ken,
as
because
well.
they are one of the most famous gay couples in existence, Dolce and Gabbana. They don't hate gays. They specifically said that they don't believe that families should be raised in a non-traditional father-mother situation.
Sure.
And that's what the gay community took offense to. Just so that piece is right. But
Okay.
no, essentially any company may suffer or gain from letting its overall CEOs or something like that's beliefs be known. That's different than a company giving legal status that is equivalent to an individual's protections. Because a company is a group of people who should be given their own individual rights and laws, but not as an organization. And there's a lot of nuance to that.
I was just having some fun at your expense. I totally agree. Like,
yeah, no, I understand you were playing.
Corporations are people stuff is ridiculous.
Yeah, I just say that because there's so many laws you can see that have been enacted that essentially benefit the corporations and money-grubbing investors and not people. And there's a whole discussion about how, hey, people, corporations do not represent you in any way, form, or in any good. They're there to make money at your expense. And therefore, our laws should not be written by corporations because you'll never get a betterment of society when corporations are the ones making the laws. But that's a whole nother discussion that would go far beyond what we have time for.
Indeed.
Or for my experience of beyond that.
Unless we're doing bonus coverage today.
No, I'm pretty sure the Alpha Geeks are going to be on this after us.
Excellent. I see the gnome is in the IRC today. So
Yes, as we're
mad shouts to the gnome.
always. And for people who don't realize, as you're listening to the show and playing in the IRC, you can also go over to alphageekvideo.com and you can go to player.alphageekmedia.com and go directly to the video/chat combo. Gnome has done a great thing where he set it up that you can see our video feed on one side of the window and have the IRC in the other in your browser. So people should go check it out because Gnomewise has been doing all kinds of amazing things with technology for the behind-the-scenes backbone.
He's such an uber nerd.
He is. I don't know how he does this stuff, by the way.
I want to be like the gnome. I want to be like the gnome. That's all I know.
Want to be like Gnome.
Sometimes I dream that he is me.
Oh, yes. So anyhow, as we've gotten into our social commentary for the day, let us ask, since we have a guest on the show this week.
Wait, does that mean we don't get any more? Aww.
So, Octale, what have you been doing lately other than getting ready to transfer out to Norwegia land?
I was in sports nerd heaven yesterday. So here's what I did. Sports nerd heaven, because the NCAA tournament is going on, as you might be aware, and the university from my home state of Wisconsin is still in the tournament. So I was watching games yesterday. But I also have the NBA League Pass, and there were pro basketball games on yesterday. So on my big TV, using the NBA League Pass app through my Samsung Smart Blu-ray player, I was watching basketball games, while on my laptop, I had the CBS Sports NCAA tournament webpage up, watching college basketball at the same time.
Oh, all the sports.
Let's say that's almost Inception-like in how much you were watching.
Oh,
so many layers and levels.
So good. And you couldn't turn the college basketball game off because the University of Kentucky is undefeated, and they almost got beat last night by Notre Dame. So it was really close, and then Kentucky pulled it out in the last 2 minutes. But Notre Dame gave them all they wanted last night. So it's not like I could turn that off. But then the NBA game that started at was it like 6:00? Yeah. It started at 6:00, and a guy who's going to, if he doesn't win the MVP this year, it'll be really, really close. He had 16 points and 7 assists in the first quarter. Woo. So it looked like he was going to go on one of these berserk sort of, 25, 14, and 10 type of triple-double games. So you couldn't exactly turn off the pro game either, because you don't get to see a triple-double all that often. So, and to answer your question, Biomed Alchemist, did both of these apps have picture-in-picture of another game? Unfortunately, there weren't 2 games going on simultaneously in the NCAA tournament. Had it been 2 weeks ago, I could have had 4 games going simultaneously. Actually, check that. I could have had 6 going simultaneously, because the NBA League Pass website will let you have 4 games up at the same time. And I think the NCAA tournament app will let you have 1 game up plus picture-in-picture, so that you can keep track of 2 games at the same time. So I could have had 6 basketball games going simultaneously. And at that point, like, my brain would have exploded or something. It would have looked like I'd...
Man, I struggle to be like within the presence, like near a sports bar. That is enough sports for me, man. What just happened right now was you said a lot of words that alone made sense. But when they were in the sentences together, man, I did not follow anything you just said. You watch TV. I'm glad you watch TV.
I did. It was a good time.
So, Octale, on the similar note, just for brevity's sake, though.
Yes.
What did you think then about the announcement that at least in the next season they're going to suspend the blackout rules when it comes to, what is it, the NFL?
Yay! Woohoo!
That
means the people in the home markets of the terrible franchises will still get to see their teams. That's what that means.
It does,
right? And because the blackout rule, if I remember correctly, means that you will not get your local team if they don't sell out.
Yeah, it's stupid. And originally, stupid rules.
Well, it's like a 1970s era, like pre-cable style of rule, so that if you were in the home market of a team, instead of just watching it on TV, you would get off your butt and go to the stadium, right?
Yeah.
When ticket prices weren't like $150 for the garbage seats. Again, we're bad franchises that don't sell out. So now in the modern era with cable and satellite and all that kind of stuff, like the what's the NFL Sunday Ticket? Gosh,
yeah.
I couldn't think of the name of that. With the Sunday Ticket now, you can watch like 6 games at the same time, or you can watch the Red Zone channel and only watch the games when somebody looks like they're going to score. Basically it's an obsolete. The blackout rule is an obsolete rule. Bottom line.
Well, and this is them basically saying they're going to try it out, see what happens, and I hope it goes. I mean, it sticks, because as much as I don't watch, kind of like not a lot of sports, it would be nice to be able to just turn on and see your team, whatever's local, whatever you wanted to, versus, oh wait, that's right, they suck, and therefore I never get to watch them at all.
Well, and you got to think about the people in the rural areas that don't get cable and don't get satellite. Like, yes. There are still those people, right? So if I only get 4, right? If I only get 4 channels and I'm living in rural Georgia, for example, the only games I can get are Falcons games. Well, thank God they're at least mediocre, because you'll get those games instead of being sent to the Saints game or some other team that you either A, hate, or B, don't care about. So, yes. Yeah, watching the hometown team. Growing up in rural Wisconsin, thank God the Packers
were decent.
have sold out for the last, 16 billion years, so that we always got the Packer games. Always. Unless they weren't playing, and in which case we'd either get Chicago or Minnesota.
Yeah, but again, I just knew that was another little tidbit of sports news that I thought you'd have an opinion on, because I at least thought, like, thank you for at least addressing or looking at what is an antiquated rule and
totally
seeing what might come of it. So that'll be interesting to see. All right,
totally. Okay,
off of sports for our fans' benefits.
Let's talk about.
Can I join the show again? Can I join the show again?
Sorry, Ken.
It's okay. We want to see you once in a while.
I know. I'm taking up the entire first hour.
Well, we'll have more to discuss. I do want to know, Ken, what you've been up to this last week.
Oh no, you don't. I've got some stories, man.
I promise I'll be really fast. I'm getting ready for my move, and I've been playing a lot of War Thunder.
Hey!
Oh really? Oh, Hand will be happy to hear that.
So good.
Yeah, War Thunder's a
great
game.
It's tough because the early tier 1 biplanes and they do it. It's like World of Tanks, which is the first game like this that I've played where you engage in multiplayer online PvP and you get the equivalent of experience points or currency that you can then spend to unlock better vehicles. And you navigate down a tech tree, essentially, and depending on which game you're talking about, well, you start in, like, World War I era, and then graduate to World War II era, and then graduate, in the case of World of Tanks, to Korean War era, Vietnam, modern times, modern era sort of tanks in World of War. Sorry, not World of Warplanes. War Thunder.
Yep.
It's a little bit different. You start with the biplanes, but the World War II era is a lot more spread out. So a lot of the biplanes are really bad, but by the time you get heavy into tier 2 with the sort of the mainstays of World War II era planes, like, some of them are really, really good. Like, they're the German planes. You've got the backbone of the German World War II, the FW-190s and the BF-109s, and the Russians. You've got Yaks in the early MiG-3s and the LAGG-35 and 66, I think. And then with the British planes, it's all Spitfires and Hurricanes and Typhoons, and they're so good. Oh, and then and you've got the American mainstays, P-39s, P-38s, and the F-4 1C, I think.
Yeah, I think that's...
And then the Japanese planes is a bunch of zeros and a couple other things. So I honestly don't care for the Japanese planes all that much, but I really am digging tier 2 War Thunder. Just really, really good. Really good. You should all be playing it.
Well, and the whole thing, guys,
War Thunder,
it's free to play.
I just couldn't get into it. Not my thing. It just wasn't my thing.
So it's funny, right? Because War Thunder's been out for a while, and I do recommend, like Octale is saying, to go back and check it out again if you haven't played it for a while. And especially since they added the tanks module, because even for people who maybe didn't really enjoy the planes part, I know a lot of people have really enjoyed the tanks part because it's kind of got what a lot of us have loved, that Mech Warrior feel, where it's a little more strategy, running around on the ground, and it's in some ways maybe easier to manage for some people than the planes, which can be very chaotic at times.
Oh, yes.
But the beauty is they both work interestingly together. Not 100% yet. They've had to do some balance things to allow them to exist without planes being way too powerful all the time.
Right.
But for the most part, they are really... I mean, I like both of the game modes, and so I'm happy to play either of them. And I recommend it alongside Octale and saying, check it out.
Yeah. How dare you say that there's no strategy involved with the planes, you simpleton?
I said it's different.
I'm just teasing.
It's more of a scrum with the planes.
Well, so there are definitely a lot of furball moments with the planes, but again, you have to know at least a little bit about the planes to get the most out of them. Like, the Americans and the German planes are very boom and zoom centric.
Yes.
Whereas the British and the Japanese planes are total turn fight planes. So if you're flying the British, the Hurricanes, the Spitfires, and you get into a turn fight with an American plane, you will always win that fight. Oh, well, I say always. You will
should.
almost always win that fight one-on-one. Same thing with the German planes. If you can get a Bf-109 into a turn fight and you're in a Spitfire, forget about it. It's over. Because the Bf-109 cannot outturn the Spitfire. I mean, even if the Bf-109 throws on its flaps and dumps all its velocity and energy and all that stuff. So, and actually, I'm glad I brought this up. The plane combat is an exercise in energy management, whereas the tank fighting is a different set of mathematical optimization. Targeting and cover and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So much more line of sighty, Cartesian 3-space coordinate. You know, I draw a straight line from the end of my barrel to you, and then things happen. So, whereas, again, like, if you're flying a P-38 and you're trying to get into turn fights with zeros, you're going to lose almost all the time. If you take at the beginning of the map, if you take your P-38 and go to 3,000 meters and then flip the thing over and dive at, a Spitfire or whatever, and try to do as much damage as you can and then get the hell out of there, so that you can regain your altitude and come around again. I mean, he's not going to catch you because you're going to be doing 700 kilometers per hour by the time you're at a decent combat range, right?
Yeah, so you fly right by him versus...
So you fly right by him. They get maybe a second or two to take a shot at you, but then you're gone. And I haven't quite learned the boom and zoom technique yet, but once I do, I'm going to be even better at the American planes. Like, I kick a massive amount of tail in turn fights with the British planes. But
nice.
Anyway,
well, obviously you do. I mean, they're instantly the best, surely. So.
Different type of fighting, exactly. No, that's very cool. I'm happy to hear that you're still playing War Thunder, because I remember when you picked it up and we all started playing a little more at Game Fest, how many people found themselves surprised at how much they enjoyed it.
Oh yeah, I mean, and again, if you can get a room of people that will all make the gentleman's agreement to all play the same era of planes, it can be a lot of fun that way too. You don't get any progression necessarily, but
but it's a good just playing for a bit and kind of enjoying the experience.
Oh yeah, totally.
Very cool. All right, so Ken, how about yourself before we go to break here? What have you been doing this last week that has made you so happy in the world?
Did you just restrict my time limit for this, man? Come on.
Well, before I put us on a break, yes. So get to talking.
All right, so this week has been a rather eventful week. I will discuss some of it this week and some of it next. I will hold off some of it for next week. So on Friday, first of all, on Thursday I was sick, right? Ken Features made some bad chicken, and I was throwing up all Thursday. So that was great fun. That was a really good day.
Some good purging, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I called in sick from work, and the worst thing is when you have a holiday straight after calling in sick. Now, I've only called in sick twice in 2 years now. Right, so just FYI, I don't call in sick very often, because I'm the kind of guy that's like, lost an arm, I can still type, I'll go in, it'll be fine. I'm the kind of guy that always go in, but when I was kind of stuck on the toilet and couldn't leave, I realized, I can't go into work today. So I had 2 days off, which was nice, but in a way, if it was a normal 2 days off, but instead I was sadly not enjoying it. So Friday I had my theory test for driving. So in the UK, you have a theory test, then you have your practical at some point in the next 2 years, or it becomes redundant. So I passed my theory test 4 years ago, but then it became redundant because I never finished it. So I passed it again Friday, so that's good. Good news. Now I can almost drive.
You theoretically could drive.
I can theoretically not kill everybody.
Right. So aggressive jazz hands for Ken.
So I don't know what it's like in the US here as well with this. What is do you guys have a theory test? How does it work? Is it a theory test you have?
We have what we call it a written test. And then when you do your practical, you actually go out with a test proctor who's in the car with you and assigns you tasks to do as you're driving around, and they rate you based on that.
Yeah, it's exact same here. Yeah.
So but we have to do them. We don't get like a 2-year break between. We have to, or whatever. We have to do it within a certain amount of time, like very close.
Yeah. That's what it is. You have to do it within the 2 years. That's what it is. So
but I think ours is like what, a couple months or something.
6 months, I think.
Oh,
something
okay,
like that.
okay.
Yeah,
Because they
'cause the
they
theory
figure that's
test-
part of the process. Like,
Right, the
get your
theory
test,
test gets
go
you
drive.
a learner.
Americans just have poor memory, right?
Yeah. The theory test, if I mean, I'm going back like 20 some
Yeah.
odd years, but the theory test gets you a learner's permit in air quotes, and then the practical actually gets you the driver's license.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You see, we just get learners just for existing. You just need to go pay them some money, and then you get learners.
Well, and I can't
So-
speak to it either because it's changed since we started. I mean, because when I was there, it was like, I got a learner's for existing, basically at like 15 or something. Once I turned 14 or 15, I could get a learner's permit. And then once I hit actual 16, I was able to test for my license.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. Here, what we did was, so the theory test, you go in, and it's a multiple choice test out of like 50 or whatever, and you have to get, so what was it, 90%? So you get 45 out of 50. So you're not allowed many mistakes. Then you have a hazard perception test. So there's like nowadays it's animated. When I first did it, it was actual videos of people driving around, and then you click when you see a developing hazard. So that's not somebody with like a car ahead of you braking, like far away, and it doesn't actually affect you. It's things that actually make your car slow down. So it's kind of a knack to get, but it's doable, and it's kind of common sense once you realize how it works. So I passed, no problem, and I'm quite happy with that. So all is well in Kenland there. So I'm pretty happy. However, on the same day, I realized my phone isn't charging. My lovely Nexus, my Google Nexus 6, one of the latest phones out there, up to scratch, up to date, pretty cool thing, breaks on me. So Vodafone, my provider, have given me this. This
That looks like
is
a
my courtesy
smartphone.
phone.
Yeah, what is that?
Technically, it's a smartphone. It's called a Vodafone. That's it. It's just the same name as the provider. It's not got anything else on it. So that kind of tells you about it a little bit. So I'm not really enjoying that.
Point of order. Was that phone manufactured in either Malaysia or the Philippines by chance?
Aren't all phones?
Well, I was just thinking like it's a company-made knockoff of something that has copyrights associated with it.
Right. Well, it's an Android phone, and it technically has internet, but oh man, it's just so slow and terrible. I just only use it for text messages and phone calls, and my battery life, it lasts like 3 days. It's crazy.
You mean when you
Weird.
don't actually use any of the radios on it, it lasts longer?
Yeah, it's mental. And when your screen isn't the size of like your foot as well, so some differences. So that was a little bit annoying as well. So my phone died. I'll get it back next week. I went to a good friend's leaving do as well on Friday night.
Their farewell.
From work.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and so this guy is a really good guy. He's a Welshman, and he drinks a lot, fits in well with the Scots. And yeah, we drank a lot. That's exactly what happened. So we went to several places, went around dancing. We went to several different pubs that you've been to, actually, Mr. Wayne. And we thoroughly enjoyed ourselves, had a good time. So that was me drinking heavily on Friday night. Then last night, I had a friend come round, and the idea was we were going to have a bit of dinner and then maybe a drink or two and play some poker. What happened was we had some dinner. We drank about 3 liters of vodka between the four of us, 2 bottles of wine, like a bottle of whiskey.
Are you looking at like the side, the empty bottles or something sitting there? Because
I'm looking for the brain cells that were killed last night. It's probably on the floor somewhere. So we had a really good night, but we didn't realize the time. At 5:30 a.m., myself and Kitten finally went to bed. She was working at 10, by the way. So that was a little bit intense. The night included playing Cards Against Humanity.
woohoo!
Oh,
Which was a lot of fun. We had this. Okay, so I don't know if you remember, but months ago, like 5 months ago, we got this chinchilla cage. Well, I say got. We made a
You made
chinchilla
one,
cage
yes.
out of an old cabinet, right? So it took like an entire day. We like bashed this cabinet down to the bare planks. Then we put it back together in a chinchilla-friendly environment. So it's this large thing where there's lots of jumping space. And the thing was taller than me. And the lucky thing, like if you think of the ratio of the size of its body to the size of its home, it had a bigger house than us, right? So it was a lucky wee thing. We decided it was getting a bit smelly, and we're thinking of moving sometime soon. So we're thinking, let's get rid of the thing. So it's been sitting in our garden, kind of looking disgusting for a few days. So we were thinking, we need to take this to the dump at some point. So in our drunken manner last night, about 3 a.m., me and my fellow bodybuilder friend, very big guy, we go out the back and we pick this thing up and we ran for about 10 minutes. And I don't remember where we put it. It's somewhere out there. But I remember we had to be really quiet. And we were.
So what you're saying is you've donated a new chinchilla shelter, or a slightly used one, to society somewhere.
Yeah, but we did remove like the chicken wire, so if any animal goes into it, it won't get stuck and stuff. But it was kind of near the dump. I think it was in the general area, or at least the right direction towards a dump. So it's okay. It's all right. So yeah, that was fun. So I had a nice bit of exercise last night. Woke up with scratches all over my arms, by the way.
From the chinchilla you took to the dump?
The chinchilla cage, not the chinchilla itself.
Okay.
No, that's in the garden. So I mentioned how much we drank last night as well. So my friend, we're in the middle of playing Cards Against Humanity, and my friend disappears. And I think my Scottish senses are tingling. Somebody's failing, because he's a South African chap, right? So he's not a Scot, so he can't keep up with us in the levels of drinking. So I head through, and I see my sink is a different color. So I think, oh, jeez. This guy's about to collapse, and he's just going to need to, like, fall asleep in my bed. Oh, no. I hate when this happens. The guy cleans up himself in, like, 2 seconds, picks up his drink again, and takes, like, a big swig and comes back and continues playing. And he just keeps playing a drinking game. I was like, this guy... that's something I can't do. Like, if I'm on a night of drinking, and if I have a, as we call it, a tactical chunder... I can't just pick up and continue on my night. At that point, I collapse into like the fetal position. I need to go home and like call for my mummy. You know, like I have a high threshold for drink, but once I pass that threshold, I'm out for the count. But this guy apparently is quite the opposite. He has a low threshold for drink, but just makes some room and continues on.
Yeah, he was doing the purge method, where you binge, you purge, and then start again.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is Scotland is Pan Am. From the Hunger Games. Yeah, from the Hunger Games. Where they gorge themselves until they're full, and then they drink a little thimble of stuff and purge
Throw it all up
so that they can eat more.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that was interesting as well. Thankfully it's all clean now. Now the final thing that I'm gonna mention here, I do have a bit more with games I could easily go into, but we'll save that for later. I've been using TweetDeck recently.
Oh yeah.
So I've been trying to use Twitter more, and it's got some really nifty little tools you can do. So instead of the one feed and then you can go and see your notifications and that's about it, I've got my home, I've got the show stuff, I've got my notifications, show notifications, and I added a little column at the end where it searches for everything with hashtag Gamergate. So I now have a constant feed, maybe 3 tweets a second, filling up my screen that makes me wince with anger, just constantly.
Welcome to October, dude.
I know.
I have had a Gamergate column since, no joke, October.
I've searched for it before, right? But I've never had it as a constant feed, and it's just like, the funny thing is, I follow half the people who are constantly mentioned, so I'm already kind of informed, right? Just now I see all the random people as well as all the bigwigs as well. So I see people talking crap, I see people being smart, people being really, really stupid. I see a bit of everything in life, and it's just, oh man. It gets to the point where, like, Kitten's getting mad at me because I'm just saying, like, this guy's so stupid! I can't go to sleep because somebody on the internet is wrong, you know?
That's, you know what, much like caffeine and sugar, no Gamergate column in the TweetDeck after dinner, sir. It's the only way. It's the only way. Like, you can do it at 9 o'clock in the morning and gorge yourself that way. But after 4 in the afternoon, like, you have to stay away because somebody's gonna say something stupid in a Tumblr post, and you're gonna click that link because it's like catnip for smart people. And then you're gonna go like, oh, God damn it.
I've gotten so mad at specific websites that I just think I am not going to go to the website to see their stupid article because I will not give them the advertising money even though I use AdBlock. They are not getting that. What I'm going to do instead is go to archive.com, find their article that way, and then see it. I refuse to give them that money because they are stupid and don't deserve it.
Oh, wow. Ken, you are taking a special level of experience when it comes to Gamers
I love you, Ken. I love you, Ken.
I love you guys too. So that's my week. Funny. That's my week.
Oh, that's good. All right, with that, we're going to take a break. We're going to listen to an old favorite from the interwebs and YouTube and such over the break. And we'll be back with a little bit more of what I've been up to, and we'll get into some geek cred, and then maybe a few articles. So with that, you're listening to Show X, and we'll be right back.
You're listening to Show X on VTWProductions.com.
Fits with live chop 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 science fits with slap chop. You're gonna be in a great mood all day. You're gonna slap your troubles away with slap your troubles away with slap chop. Science fits with slap chop. You're gonna be in a great mood all day. You're gonna slap your troubles away with slap your troubles away with slap chop. Look, here's a potato. One slap, you get big chunks of stew. Two slaps, don't rise in the second. And look at this. With your hand mushroom, the more you do it, the more you'll get your twitching brains. Now, you love salad, you hate making. You know you hate making salad, you hate making. So we don't have any salad in your diet. Just one slap, salad. A soup, coleslaw stuff. And watch 5 seconds, 4 or 5 seconds, it's done. This thing, this tuna, looks boring. Stop having a boring tuna. Stop having a boring life. Add this tuna, make it like this. Now you're gonna have a nice, exciting life. Now here's a hard-boiled egg. One chunk, and pickle. You add the green, and what you can do, you can mix things together. You add a ham, and you're gonna love this. You don't have time to make a breakfast. Breakfast to go. Watch this, you're gonna love my nuts. Watch this, you're gonna love my nuts. Watch this, you're gonna watch this. You're gonna watch this. Watch this, watch this, watch this, watch this. Let it run through. Let it go. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Yeah, this is not beautiful ice cream. The reason you're gonna slap away every day is because it's so easy to clean. 1, 2, and pop open like that. Now these other ones you've seen in the stores, bacteria gets in the food. All the stores have this. You can't clean it. You can't open this up. It's worthless. Forget about it. Now take the slab chop. Put it back together. Put the slab chop right there. Let's put the slab chop right there. Let's put the slab chop right there. Let's put the slab chop right there. The skin's at the bottom. 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 The skin comes right off. 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 Now put a tomato in there. Add your cilantro, your hot peppers right there. You can hit it like this. Hit it like this. Hit it like this. Hit it like this. Guys, we're gonna make America sing again. One slap at a time. It's guys, we're gonna make America sing again. One slap at a time. It's guys, we're one slap, one sing again. One slap at a one slap at a time. We're one slap, one sing again. One slap at a one slap at a time. We're one slap, one sing again. One slap at a one slap at a time. We're guys, we're one slap, one slap at a tap at a slap, 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 slap. Science fits with slap chop. You're gonna be in a great mood all day. You're gonna slap your troubles away with slap, slap, slap your troubles away with slap chop. Science fits with slap chop. You're gonna be in a great mood all day. You're gonna slap your troubles away with slap, slap, slap your troubles away with slap chop.
It's easy. You just got one hand and chop, 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 chop.
Watch this: tacos, fettuccine, linguine, martini, bikini.
Send in your emails to showx at VTWProductions.com.
Hey there, kids. This is Grandpa Hando, and you're listening to Lord Reverend Klingon High Commander Rear Admiral Ken Reed and that poof-head Afro samurai-looking punk Doc Dead. Get a haircut, you hippie!
Something tells me Octale haven't heard that one.
You're sticking my day. Grandpa Hando was just a tadpole.
Yeah, I need to play that one more often. I caught it on my directory. I was kind of looking through stuff. I saw that. I was like, wait a second. Listen to it like, yeah.
That's fan-freaking-tastic.
That's amazing.
Yep. I need to go find his. I need to find the outros he gave us again as well. I have them downloaded somewhere, but I haven't put them in order yet, so I can play his nephews as they give us a shout out.
Nice.
So it's not always Spawn that's doing it, but I need to find those as well. And we'll see if Slapchop Rap gets us like flagged on the interwebs with YouTube like so many other things we play. Yes, the joy.
We need to get in touch with Vince and ask him if he can like, come on the show and do it for us live.
Yeah, I would love that.
That'd be hilarious. Is he still alive and not in jail?
His name's Vince Offer, also known as the ShamWow guy.
Oh, hey, can we get him to do the prostitute song from South Park?
Yeah, he was arrested in Florida on charge of felony battery after an altercation with a 26-year-old prostitute. So that would be very apt.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. Like a prostitute is someone who will punch you no matter who you are or what you look like.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh, the interwebs. And yeah, before we get too deep into things coming off the break, I do want to jump into an email so that we don't forget or go beyond it. So this comes to us, let's see, from, as it's funny as in the email, it says, Happy Dude 2. But no, I think this one's from Cupcheck, if I'm not mistaken. We'll see.
Cupcheck.
It says, Mid-Southcon last week, and my liver is paying for it. So, this comes off of, like, Ken's story. So, last week, Mid-Southcon happened, and I had a realization that sent me into a downward spiral. Such a good album. Along with the thought that there was more than 10 different types of drinks with moonshine in it. Oh, Southern hospitality at its finest, people. After everything was shutting down on Sunday, we had a staff dinner where all the guests of honor would come and talk about the experience of the weekend with the people who helped run it. I was casually sitting in the corner with my friends, and as they were drinking imported beer, I was sipping on Monster energy drinks of every kind. On the way home, I turned to a friend of mine, and as we were commentating on the fact that the streets are almost empty, making it look like over the weekend Memphis was a ghost town. Quote, it can't be any earlier than midnight, could it? As I reached into my pocket for my phone, and as I looked at it, I quickly rolled down the window and screamed, No! It's only 9:30 and I'm tired as hell. I'm getting old. Thought everyone would get a kick out of that, and hopefully I'll share more stories with you about that weekend at a later date. Yes, I'm curious as to how memory will come back after all the alcohol has been processed, and you can kind of continue with what events occurred.
It tends to happen several years later. You wake up in a cold sweat in the middle of the night, and you just start like rubberishly like trying to get the freaking stuff off your hands, you know? Just all the grease and the film, yeah.
I was going to say, this goes back to a question that was asked in the IRC, Ken, whether your story was about a dead body or a chinchilla cage.
Oh, yeah. You ever seen the episode of MASH? Like, the classic episode where Hawkeye is seeing a psychiatrist, and he keeps talking about how this woman killed the chicken, and it was so horrible. She killed this chicken to save them from these troops going nearby so it wouldn't make any noise. And at the end of the episode, it's revealed that it was her child. That's what just happened with that. It was actually a dead body, and yeah.
That is so wrong. So yes, confirm that was Cupcheck who sent that email in, although he didn't have his normal response at the bottom. Anyhow.
Yay, Cupcheck.
But as a continuation of basically talking about cons, I will talk about what I've been up to in the last couple of weeks real quick, since I wasn't here last week and left things in the hands of Ken. What I was doing last week was essentially getting in front of a camera for a change instead of behind it. And I can't unfortunately talk too much about the experience or what all it was until after Denver Comic-Con in May. But essentially a group of us got together in what was called Bring Back Firefly. And we put together a music video where one of the gals, the orchestrator of the whole event, I believe she was one of the main people who wrote this thing, but wrote an adaptation to a song from a UK pop star, and I forget her name, although maybe Ken you would know, we'll see. Kind of catchy tune, whatever it was, but The lyrics that were rewritten, I thought were in many ways better than the original song, because it's all talking specifically about how many fans would like to see the show Firefly brought back. And it kind of goes poignant with some of the discussions that since X-Files is being brought back, really? What about something like, I don't know.
Yeah, what about that, by the way?
But in doing so, I got to cosplay my Shepherd Book character from Firefly, as well as get together with an entire cast of people who I have to say were some of the best cosplays I've ever seen of any of the characters from the show.
Nice.
And the pictures I saw, man, they were freaking amazing. Well, I saw random people tweeting that and talking about it on Reddit and stuff. Oh man, that's pretty impressive.
That was kind of interesting that we actually made it to Reddit off of that. And people, here's one of the really weird things. Being put somewhere like Reddit on the interwebs and having not a single negative post attached to it. I was quite surprised like that.
Pixar didn't happen. That doesn't happen.
Are you sure it was Reddit? Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. I went back yesterday and went to the thread again, read through them all. I was like, every single comment is positive. This cannot be Reddit. Maybe we did not get into the right subreddit or something like that, but everyone was happy. It was weird. I mean, the closest thing was people saying, oh, where's the video? And us saying, no, it's not going to be out until May. It's just got filmed this weekend. And they were just like, oh, okay, gotcha. Like, that was the most negative thing on there. Although, something that did come from it, and I have to come clean, I guess, on the show from this, is that I've had my first, I don't know how to really explain it other than I finally had questionable feelings about an individual of the same gender as me. Because if you have not seen the gentleman that was playing Jane in our group.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Understandable.
Holy crap. This man, Jesse, is 6'8". I have no idea how much he weighs other than it's all muscle. All of it.
Okay.
And is one of the most attractive men I've ever seen.
His arms are like the size of like my head.
Oh, yes,
just
absolutely.
Like
of everybody's head. And we have shots of him where because of his size, we had different scenes we were doing causing a ruckus where he multiple times had to basically carry half the cast around the shot. And there's a great picture of him literally dragging two guys out that were hanging off of him that were supposed to be police officers arresting him. And he just walked, like dragging them along. And to, I don't know if it's to cement my man crush that I have on him essentially, but it's bad that his girlfriend who played Inara from it, like was sitting there talking, like, oh yeah, well you see all this and that. If you look here on his site, you can see the romance novel covers he's been the model for. What? And stuff. You're just like, wait, what? What? And you look at the guy, you're like, holy crap. And it's one of those that, in a way, you would almost expect for him to be this big, douchey whatever, because he's massive, good-looking guy, has an attractive girlfriend, and just all this. He is the nicest guy I've ever met. And he's a no-crap geek. Where, he
does a damn good Jane cosplay, by the way.
Seriously, it was one of those comments where it's like, his Jane may have been better than the original? What?
Yeah.
So yeah, I throw that out there. I cannot wait for the video to be produced and debuted. We're going to have probably more outtakes from it, and that we have to put together. There has to be a behind the scenes done that's going to be 3 or 4 times longer than the video, because there was so much ridiculousness that occurred on set in the one day of filming that we had. It was brilliant. Good time. Great group of people. Cannot wait to let you guys know more about it. We have a hope that we may even become more internet famous because of it, so we'll see.
Ooh.
But yeah, it was cool. Their goal is to debut it in front of Alan and Jewel from the show, the ones that played Wash and Kaylee, that are going to be at Denver Comic Con this year, during it. And I will tell you, I have so much angst and conflict where I'm going to be at Anime North during Denver Comic Con's weekend. The whole cast is going to be at DCC in cosplay for it during the debut, and they're going to be missing their Shep. And I'd be like, gah! But at the same time, I'm going to be having a blast up north, so it should be all right. And my hope is that when it gets debuted, I'll be able to convince people to check it out while I'm in Anime North. So we'll see. That was the big deal last weekend. This week, I just came back from a week out east where I was doing some training. And on Saturday, so yesterday, I flew back in. I had gotten up at like 1:30 in the morning, my normal time, so it was 3:30 East Coast time to catch an early flight that flew back through Minneapolis and back here. Got back home. Everything worked out fine. Sat in my chair. It was about 11:30 local when I finally sat down like, thank goodness, I'm home. And then I started getting tweets and pictures and stuff on social media saying that, hey, look at all my friends who are in costume and over at a convention that's going on this weekend, Anomaly Con, the steampunk convention. And people saying, hey, you should come out to this. And me saying, gosh, with all of this non-sleep I've had and nothing to eat, and sure. So I went down to Denver Tech Center to the hotel down there where this con is taking place right now and went and checked it out. And admittedly, it was a blast. It's a smaller convention than any of the others I tend to go to. It's steampunk. It's been growing over the last several years. Last year was like 1,800 people attending or so, maybe a little more this weekend. But it's dedicated to nothing but the steampunk culture. So a lot of very creative, very intense people for building really elaborate costumes. So we got to go take some great photos. Got to see again Jesse and his girlfriend as they were this very elegant couple there. Again, looking straight off of the front of a romance novel type thing. As well as several of the other people I've run around with stuff. So take a lot of photos of friends, which is fun. Honestly, though, the highlight of my day was when I was just wandering around the convention. And you got to remember, this is the same weekend as hopefully you heard about from Molly last weekend as Emerald City Comic Con out in Seattle, right? Where Molly's playing right now, where Paul and Storm are, where all those guys, where some of our friends of the show are out there right now. I think, Roxy should be out there and stuff like that as well. And so there's people all around that should be at ECC, which is a big convention I've been invited to multiple times. So, much to my surprise, as I was walking around the authors area where all the people writing books and stuff were hanging out, as I walked up upon a booth that had a little sign that said Double Clicks on it. And happened to see Miss Audrey from the Double Clicks sitting there with all their paraphernalia and CDs in front of them. I kind of did a, what? What are the Double Clicks doing in Denver on the same weekend as ECC at this essentially relatively small convention versus being at these massive ones that are everywhere else? And she's like, well, they talked to us first. Said they liked our music and wanted us to come. So I was thrilled. I got to sit down and hang out with the Double Clicks for a bit yesterday. Nice. And ended up keeping myself there at the convention until 9 o'clock, actually until about 10:30, 11. All said and done. Because they put on a live concert in the main hall there. And it was great because I am a huge fan of Double Clicks. I kickstarted their album, Dimetrodon, which I throw out there everyone should go check out. And so I got to talk to him for a bit, but when they came, it's amazing to me how many people, I wasn't really surprised, but how many people at the Steampunk Convention didn't know who they were. And so I was kind of actively recruiting, saying, hey, have you guys heard? You really need to be at their concert. What tickled me was when they finally went on stage, the venue was kind of or the main hall was kind of like a quarter filled. There weren't that many people up at 9 o'clock. A lot of people had gone off to room parties and things like that at that point, or had left the con for the day. So it started out a little light, and I could tell they were a little unsure as to how they'd be received. As soon as they got out there, and in fact, me sitting in the audience, I heard a few people saying, who are these people? I was like, oh my god, you haven't heard the Double Clicks? They're amazing, you need to. And so they're like, one guy turned back and was like, okay, you said they're awesome, I'm going to hold you to that. I was like, by all means. Well, they started playing, and they did a phenomenal set, and it was such a small venue. They're just sitting right there on stage, basically hands reach away from everybody, and playing all their great music. Truly geek-oriented, hilarious. The wit that they put in their songs really came through because I got to sit on the side as I was taking photos and watch people get every punchline to the jokes in their songs. And suddenly you saw from the way people were cheering and more people kept filtering in that were kind of randomly walking outside of the room to the point by the end of their set, they had pretty much packed the place. And the amount of enthusiasm that everyone was giving them, they were visibly shaken on stage where they kind of stopped, and Angela was like, whoa, you guys are amazing. I had no idea that you would ever get what we were doing, but you guys are awesome people. We love Denver. Because, again, there were just so many screams and cheers for them. It was a great show. So that's what I ended up doing last night. After a week of running around stuff and spending basically 24 hours up yesterday. Because sure enough, I get home, I can't just go to bed. I have to throw in a few games or something.
Sure. But, hey, and sorry I woke you up Friday night.
Oh, no, that was fine. You had no idea, right? People didn't know where I was at, what I was doing. So your
Sure.
call saying, like, hey, I'm going to empty the storage unit, I was kind of like, I would love to help.
Yeah. No, that was the funny sort of happenstance. Like, I cleaned out my storage unit because it's all got to be in my house when the movers come a week from Monday, and next weekend is Easter weekend, so
Oh, gosh, yes.
we decided to do it this weekend, and anyway.
No, but so no worries there at all. It was just funny because I get the call, and I will say it was right as I was doing the pass out. Right, I was kind of in between, like, okay, yeah, I'm totally. And then phone rings. I'm like, what the heck is going on?
No.
And I woke
Now
up
I
like this,
feel
like,
even worse.
It's okay. It all worked out just fine. But yeah, no, I did have that moment of like heart beating, like, holy crap, what just woke me up? Which maybe made it a little harder to get to sleep, but that was fine. It ended up a good day yesterday, so all is good. But that was kind of a nutshell what I had been up to in the last week. So, with that, I'm going to officially transition us, since I haven't done any of these yet, and go into a little bit of...
I'm a geek. Are you a geek? Geek cred, level up!
Since we're in the Geek Cred section, coming off the break, one of the things I've also been involved in, and this was a chance for us all to catch up on games and such, not a lot of notes because I haven't been gaming a whole lot. Most of it was been, watching anime on the phone. I've been catching up a lot with Naruto, which is one of these animes that's been around forever. I got through the whole first series, and I've been soon the second series, getting into it. And I'm starting to really enjoy it again. I'm starting to realize what I liked about Naruto, and I'm like, awesome. Anyhow. So that's why I've done enough so that I actually paid, or at least signed up for the 14-day free trial for Premium Crunchyroll, which I thought and swore I would never do. I was like, I can go through ads, brah! And then I started watching their episodes over and over in a row as I was sitting in my hotel room. And after seeing the same ad several dozen times in an evening, I was kind of like, oh God, I'm done. No, I can't do it. I may actually pay for this. Yeah, I might actually pay for this. And I've been quite happy because I get through the show so much faster not having any commercial breaks. Where it's down to like 20 minutes of just stuff, like done. Oh, so good. But beyond that, gaming-wise, as I came back, I got an email yesterday that invited me finally, I guess, into something a lot of you have already experienced, and I think, as Octale, you've described as the only attempt you've seen to make the MOBA genre even easier to partake than League of Legends.
Somebody got their Heroes of the Storm beta invite.
I did! And I actually
installed it yesterday, dude. We could totally play it at some point.
So I went through the tutorial before the show this morning. And I got through playing, just like, all right, let's see what this is. And Octale, I cannot disagree with the assessment you put so eloquently about it, because
it's Dota for dummies that are dumber than the League of Legends player base.
It is. I didn't think you could take out so many mechanics of the game and still have the game work, and I'm still not sure if it does, because I've only played through the tutorial a couple of the AI practice matches. But holy cow, it was almost disconcerting in the way that there's essentially no gold in the game, and from what I've seen so far, no items. That it's all, and that everything is shared across your entire team when it comes to XP, and leveling, and
so
everything.
I don't think that's bad in itself, that last part.
Yep.
There has to be some kind of customization other than leveling, though, right? Like, there's gotta be something else.
So the leveling that they do, I mean, you level, but your abilities you have, that's it. You get your abilities, and you don't choose to level up your abilities. What they do is they give you, as you level up every however many, a talent that is a pick from what I've seen so far, 1 or 2 in a menu, that says, instead now when I do this attack, it's going to now give me a double hit this time, or this one's going to now slow a bit, and then it goes off, and then you level a few more times, and then you get another one that says, like, okay, this time when you do this, you're going to get a little bit of lifesteal back on your basic attacks. But it's basically like a little nothing tree that you choose one or the other, and that's kind of it. And at some point you unlock your ultimate, but it just comes up as another talent thing, like, hey, but I think it's a solo choice one there, like it's the only one you can unlock. And so No, there's not really any customization other than like you can kind of lean one way or another on a character.
Okay, how about skill-based? Like, is it easy to... Is it the kind of thing you should have like 150 actions per minute to be able to be any good
It's
at?
a MOBA. You do the one champ and you just run around. But it's weird, right? Because, okay, you know how... And so I can almost sympathize with Dota players to a little bit of a degree here, where they got rid of the mechanic where you got gold from getting a last hit on your minions, on enemy minions. You know, in Dota, you can deny creep kills, stuff like that, and adjust the game even more finitely that way. Where other MOBAs they've had in like League and stuff, where you don't get punished for it, where you can't like deny someone a creep kill, but in order to get the gold from the creep kill, you still have to get the last hit. This one, because there's no gold in the game, everyone on the team gets equal XP for every minion killed by whatever means.
So nobody actually right-clicks on anything, they just hit go and then watch their character for the rest of the game.
Ish?
Well, and so heroes are still worth more EXP than creeps are, right?
Well, so there's other little nuances, right? Because one of the things I also found is that in most MOBAs that you already run into, one of the things they do to help balance somewhat how you're chasing down and killing champs and everything, to kind of give someone a defensive edge or a way to rebound, is that when you get back to your home area under towers, if you're targeting an enemy champ and they get within tower range, like so that you're within their towers, and even if you have creeps or minions there that are taking tower hits, normally, like in League, and I think Dota does the same, where the tower will then prioritize the hero if you're doing damage to an enemy hero, right? Not in this one. In this one, if there's minions getting hit, the towers don't even register you until there's no minions there.
Right, so these kind of changes, like the little ones, that's not a big deal. I don't care if the tower does that or not, because if it did, it'd be League .2, right? Like, what's the
Potentially.
point? I don't want my MOBAs to be the same.
Ken, but it has Blizzard characters, and I can play as James Raynor, and then I can call down a battle cruiser, and the battle cruiser does battle cruiser things.
See, you say all this, cannons. And I genuinely see these as good things. I don't see why they wouldn't have all that. I wouldn't play as Thrall. I think that's cool.
Like the character thing. No, I think it's brilliant what Blizzard's doing with the whole character piece. That's smart, and I'm cool on that, right?
It's Smash Brothers.
It's taking away,
which worked very well as well. Thank you very much.
But admittedly, it does get to a point where I'll have to play some normal games in it to figure out where the strategy lies. Okay. Because right now it is more just a face roll, like just keep attacking, rah rah rah. And now I give them credit; they've done little things where they're trying to change up maps and such, where adding different elements to different maps, kind of tweaks on the game mode. They have a pirate map where you go, and as you do kills and get objective little things, you start earning coins that you can then pay to this ghost captain in the middle, that when you do it, he'll now target his cannons against the enemy base and do damage kind of across all their stuff. So they're doing interesting kind of things they're trying to tweak on it. But in the little moments I played of it, I was kind of like, yep, this seems pretty straightforward.
So do you think as a League player, you're going to go in with a great knowledge of MOBAs, and it's going to be really easy, and you're going to just be like face roll the enemy for the first few matches until you get up the ladder a little bit? Or is it going to be a kind of, you go in there trying to do what you're used to, and therefore you mess up because it's not what you're supposed to do?
He's got MOBA experience. He's going to go in and roll stupid Blizzard fanboys for like the first 8 months.
So that's the thing. It does feel like I would have an edge. Because they took out so many of the mechanics that actually require some more competent play. I mean, it may level the playing field to a degree, but at the same time, because you can do basically what you said, Ken, which is just click your character and say go, people who understand the ability to move a little bit, shoot, things like that, will have a significant advantage.
One moment, I have to answer the door.
Uh-oh. As Ken runs away. But yeah, so I do have to give credit, Octale. I wasn't sure what to expect, but when I saw that, I was like, this is pretty filtered down to the basics. If nothing else.
So it is that.
On a slightly different note from it, because that was just, I'll have to give it more time. I don't have a final opinion yet. I was actually tempted to record some stuff. As was mentioned in the IRC, thank you, Tom Bad Guy, for doing all the videos you've been doing about Dragon Ball's Xenoverse, Dragon Ball Z Xenoverse, and the things he's been doing with that. And he just put up a new one I saw on the Twitter feed, but I don't know what the name of it was. I'll have to look through again. I retweeted it for everyone there. He just made another video.
Oh, it's Tom Bad Guy. Yeah, that stuff's looking really good.
So I love what he's been doing with that. So hopefully we'll see more. But I did want to bring up another game news as I'm going to kind of transition it over to saying
Technology, news, and more today on the Geekoscope.
Because it's all going to blend together. So what's it matter?
Yeah.
But with this one, I'm going to say there was an article that I saw right away that I thought was really cool. Hopefully people will appreciate. This coming from my favorite news article, News 360, because I have the app and it's what I get to look at when I'm on the toilet.
Yeah!
But this one was just for a quick note for anybody who hasn't played it in some time or just would like to. There is a new remastered from the community version of Half-Life 2 that just came out. I don't know if you guys had seen anything on this.
No. Nothing at all.
So if you look it up on Steam, you can look up Half-Life 2 space update, I believe is what it comes up as. And essentially what it is that a group of fans had gone out there and did a ton of modding on the Half-Life 2 game. And in doing so, they added some features that were not part of it. One, they fixed a bunch of what were considered kind of broken pieces of the game, or just little nitpicky things that weren't working correct. Fixed a lot of those little things, and then they went forward with it, and they actually enhanced it visually. They added effects like God rays, true shadowing in the game that comes from actual light sources versus kind of the preset ones. They did like volumetric fog. They updated the backgrounds with distant vistas in the horizon and things like that. And if people follow the link and look at the article, there's a trailer on there from it that does a comparison. The really beautiful thing about this is it's 100% free. And so you can just go and download this standalone update. I don't know if you have to have the original game or not, if it knows and sees it. It's about 7 gigs, essentially, which is a bunch of updated textures, files, things like that. But if you haven't taken the time to play through Half-Life 2, which is considered one of the best, FPS kind of story-driven games out there, or is one of those pivotal ones in the progression of gaming, give it a shot. Go check it out, and this is a great time to do so. So, just kind of throwing that out there for people.
Fantastic.
With that, though, I do want to give you guys a chance to talk about things a little more geeky that you've been up to and game-related. So, I'll start with you, Octale. Is there anything specific you've been playing?
Oh, Sid Meier, a group, a developer, a guy for which I have had loyalty toward for over 20 years. Since I first picked up Civilization 1, has jumped the shark.
Uh-oh.
I have played Civilizations 1, 3, 4, 5. I played Beyond Earth, which I didn't think was all that bad.
Okay.
There are people that don't like it. I didn't think it was that bad. And then they brought out Sid Meier's Starships.
Yeah.
And it's a game that's made to be played on the iPad, and you can tell. Because it's baby's first Civ-like game. It's still hex-based. There's still a tech tree, kind of. There's still the same affinity system in Beyond Earth, more or less.
Okay.
But it's just really simplistic.
So is it free, or what's the strategy behind this?
I forget. It's like, I think it's $15. Can I go to the store page? I can. I think it's $15. And Steam is going to come up, and it's already in my inventory. $14.99. Yeah, it's $15. You can buy Sid Meier's Starships and Civilization Beyond Earth as a package for $60.
Okay.
And you can take, apparently, I don't know how you do this. Oh, excuse me. apparently you can take save files from Sid Meier's or from Civilization Beyond Earth and import them into Sid Meier's starships, but I don't know how you do that. I have to like watch the YouTube video to figure out how to do that. It's just it's not very good. It's a $15 game that they made for the iPad that also got released on the PC for some reason, I guess to show off as a proof of concept for the taking a save game from one part of the franchise and importing it into another part of the franchise. Like, I don't know if we're gonna get a fully integrated like Civilization plus Starships plus Beyond Earth. If that's like gonna be Civ 6 or something, where you do this like mega epic colossal one more turn, but it doesn't matter because you're never going to finish in the lifetime of the game before this first expansion pack comes out, so why bother? A kind of thing, I don't know, but wow.
Oh man,
I'm just
that's unfortunate.
25-ish years of brand loyalty to Civilization, and we now have our jump the shark moment for that series, and it's so sad.
It's bound to happen. There's always corporate who-has behind this stuff.
It's so sad. Like, I just don't get it. Like, what is it with... This is our 3. In fact, you know what? Bad things happen in 3s, right?
Okay.
So Nintendo signed its conditional surrender to the entirety of the gaming industry by saying they're gonna go mobile. Blizzard made Baby's first MMO, which you know is going to get ported to iPad at some point because Hearthstone, and now Firaxis and Sid Meier are doing like, well, we really should make a game for the iPad and then put it on the PC too, because why not? So I guess we've had our bad things happen in 3s now. So hopefully
it's funny, like that it was so possible that they could make a fantastic game for iPad. I mean, imagine that you had your normal Civilization game, but then maybe you could maybe not run the full animated, beautiful actual game on your iPad, but you could pick up your iPad from the game that you're actually playing on your PC, pick up your iPad and go to the toilet and continue playing, right?
Right.
They could have done something like that. They could have made that... People would have all gone back to Civ, then got the expansions, and they'd have made more money. A complete speculation without any figures.
So here's the thing. You're absolutely right, Ken. You could have turned on quick combat and quick movement, right, to get rid of all the animation assets associated with all of the units and all of that combat stuff and all of that, and taken a game like Civ and moved it to the iPad, but... You have to be really careful that you don't end up with a scenario like Squeenix did with Final Fantasy Tactics for the iPad, which, again, should be really great, but for whatever reason turned out to not be as nearly as good as it should have been, because it is really, really hard to control, and without a cursor to move to your units that are in hard to reach places in Tactics, it's really hard to control. So yeah, I just
fair enough.
Yeah.
No, it's always unfortunate. It feels bad when you see something that you loved kind of been dragged down where it becomes mediocrity, right? Where you're just kind of like, God, you guys were so good. Why are you doing so bad now? Why are you just letting this fail? And so I do feel your pain because
indeed. And I'm going to do one more real quick.
Okay. Sure.
This is some health related stuff for all the geeks out there that live a too sedentary lifestyle.
Okay.
Go out on the internet and grab yourself some DDPYoga. You'll be glad that you did. This is going to be a bit of an infomercial. So the history behind this, it was called Yoga for Regular Guys. And then ex-WCW World's Heavyweight Champion Diamond Dallas Page started doing it to rehab himself from having a couple of vertebrae fused.
Yeah, I've seen the videos from that, yeah.
Had a professional wrestling career after that. Well, the big one is is Arthur, the paratrooper whose knees were wrecked, whose back was wrecked. He was walking with crutches. He had gained some weight because he couldn't be active. He started doing the DDP yoga, and like 18 months later, he was off the crutches and standing on his head, type of thing. Right?
Wow.
So I've been doing it now for, I don't know, 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks total. Holy crap. It's awesome. It is a totally non-impact but aerobic and strength conditioning workout without having to go to the gym. And it's so good. So good. But anyway, the thing that made me think of that is so they start you on this plan, and they have a calendar, and they have an eating guide, and they have all this stuff. All these resources that you can tap into, and you can go to the website. It's like DDPYoga.com, or Google search DDP Yoga, and you'll be good to go.
And it'll be in the show notes, yeah.
Yeah. So they have all these resources, and you follow the calendar. Well, I went from the sort of the beginner's workout, the energy workout, to the second workout that they call Fat Burner. And they had us do these things called broken table crunches. So you get down, so the table position in yoga, you're down on all fours. Broken table, take your left hand and you put it in the mat. You extend your left foot back. Then your right knee is on the ground and your right foot is flat, and you take your right hand and extend it away from your body. So you're stretching your left foot and right hand and balancing on your left hand and your right knee, right?
Ooh, okay.
And then they're having you pull your right hand and your left leg together and crunch. So it's crunch, extend, crunch, extend, crunch, extend, crunch, extend.
It's a shame you don't have your webcam working, Todd, because it'd be great to watch you do this.
Oh my God. No, nobody's ever watching me do yoga. Ever, ever, ever. Like, watch Octale do down dogs. Hell no. No. Not only no, but hell no. But it has been amazing. Like, I did the regular sort of beginner workout this morning, and I could feel it in my core, like the tightness of getting a really just solid core workout, and it's really good. You'll get more mobility, you'll get more flexibility, you'll get more strength. You'll break a sweat for sure. So it's been really good. I really digging it. So if you're kind of, if you're a big fella like me, you've been living the sedentary lifestyle most of your life, and you want to get, get back into living a little bit healthier lifestyle, getting your range of motion back and all that stuff, I can't recommend it enough. DDPYoga.com or DiamondDallasPageYoga.com is the website. Go and check it out.
Awesome.
Fantastic. No, we've talked about fitness for favorite in the show in the past, so it's always good to get interesting perspective, especially if it's something I've never actually heard of before. And so long as it's not like freaking what's it called? What's that terrible workout people are doing?
P90X or something, or like
that is bad.
There's so many like faddish ones that hit. Where, I mean, a lot of them are basically the same thing. Stay active. The nice thing about yoga in general is yoga is really surprisingly difficult and strengthening and flexibility and all that. Mm-hmm. But doing it in a way that anybody can kind of pick it up, I think, is the value of what Octale's showing us here. A format that's for people who aren't going to go do some hot yoga with, down at the gym.
Oh, right. And when you go into the individual workouts, they have 3 people doing it. So Paige himself is sort of like front and center, and then off to the right they have somebody doing the modified version of the poses, which are for more beginner people.
Yeah, like the way that you can start.
Yeah, I can't do a 3-legged dog yet. I mean, I'm just not strong enough to be able to pull that off without hurting myself. So they have somebody showing you a modification to all the yoga poses so that you can do all of the stuff that they're doing, but again, not hurt yourself, not put yourself in danger, not overly stress yourself, And then, of course, when you get more advanced, you've been doing it for a year or whatever, then they've got the stronger pose, or the hard position type of thing, so that you can go really crazy with it.
No, it sounds like a good thing. It's rare to hear about yoga actually making people lose weight. I hear a lot about flexibility, and it's good for meditation on the mind and stuff as well. So it's really good in conjunction with other sports. So it's interesting to see one that's actually based around cardio as well. So that's
yeah, no, it's all about, and I'm not doing this part of it yet because I can't get the app that came with a heart rate monitor to work on any of my iDevices, but at some point I'll get there. But yeah, it's all about putting your heart rate into the fat burning zone and keeping it there for like 20 minutes or something like that. So nice. It's really amazing.
Oh, fantastic. Good to hear. Alrighty, I'm going to steal the spotlight. So I have been playing Hearthstone this week.
Okay.
Quite a lot.
Ooh.
So originally I used to play this on the PC quite a bit. And since then, I just kind of got bored of it or whatever. But recently, I kind of got on my Android device actually. Now, this is not available for phones yet. However, if you are particularly interested and willing to do a bit of configuration on your phone, not rooting it, I might add, you can actually make it work on your Android device. Not this one. I'm not going to try it on this one. I don't think it'll work on this one. But my Nexus 6 is thankfully a phablet, which is effectively big enough to be able to see the screen and make it work. There is a bit of struggle because when you're, for example, customizing your cards and you got to flick through the whole deck, it's pretty tough on the tiny little screen in comparison to an actual tablet. However, the processing power and graphics handling, it's no problem on my phone. So it's just a little package you download onto your phone. You allow installation from external, from not the App Store, and then you just install it. Purchases don't work. Not a bad thing. It's probably good to not have.
Yeah, it keeps you from buying decks or anything.
Yeah, it's a brilliant idea. Money saving right there.
There you go.
So I've been playing that. I've been playing loads on my phone. Problem is, it didn't connect to my actual Battle.net. I logged in with my Battle.net account, but for some reason, it doesn't log my progress. I guess for some reason, mobile Hearthstone is separate from, I don't know, PC Hearthstone. It's a bit weird. I don't understand why, but that's the way it is. So I've been playing it with a new account, effectively. I've been getting some new stuff as we go, unlocking more stuff, and I'm enjoying it. I'm just kind of a bit peeved that all these like legendaries I've unlocked on my actual account are not on my other one. Whatever. At least it gives me two different accounts to play with different decks and different styles and stuff. So whatever.
So
it's good fun. I've been enjoying it.
It's funny, Ken. You talk about that, and in a way I'm slightly jealous because I don't have any tablet devices. I just have my phone, which is a phablet because it's a huge-ass phone. I'm still pissed that I can't choose to grab what are considered, tablet apps and work them on my phone and be willing to deal with a slightly less than optimal experience.
I know. There should be a little ticky box that you say, or even when you hit install, it says, by the way, this is made for tablet. You sure you want to install it? And you say, yes, I know what I'm doing, or no, I don't understand why this is a bad thing, so I'm going to say no. It should be up to the consumer. But there's too many devices, both Android and iOS, by the way. Yep. Both Google and Apple are saying, oh, no. That's not going to... no, don't do that. Because that's going to make you not like our phones, and you're going to blame us as a company, and that's why we don't want that to happen. I can understand that, but, grow up. Let your consumers
here's the thing, right?
Do that.
I will not, for the most part, play Hearthstone on my PC because I have a PC with loads of really good games. But when traveling and other things going on and I have my phone available to me, there may be a moment when I'm sitting there like, you know what? I could throw in a quick game of Hearthstone, and I would totally be willing to play that on my phone on a limited experience. And so you're missing out on this huge market because I'm not going to go buy a tablet actually just to go play Hearthstone, and I'm almost never going to play it on my PC.
They're missing out on a huge market because they don't have the courage to finish the game yet.
Oh, Hearthstone.
By adding casual multiplayer variants.
Any multiplayer variants.
I don't give a damn about the latter. As much fun as it is squishing Hondo 8 times in 9 games on a Sunday afternoon, and don't get me wrong, that's a lot of fun. I'd like to be able to play with more than one person. Like I'd like to be able to squish Ken and Hando and Ebian at the same time.
Yeah, why not have
Shots fired!
all fours and all against? It's just so that is one of those that's just silly. All right, we're getting up close
to
to
an article. Actually, an article attached to this.
Okay, quick because we're getting close, and the Alpha Geeks do have something coming up right after us, so we have to be good on time.
We have 5 minutes and 3 seconds.
We
sir.
have.
I will take every one of those.
We have 2 minutes plus talking our way out, and there's an email asking Octale to maybe voice something. So hurry up.
Okay. Okay. I'm actually much more interested in that now. Hearthstone player managed to take a 40-hour turn. So Hearthstone streamer Mammy Twinks, that's a weird name, nearly 2-day-long turn finally ended, clocking in a little over 45 hours. That's 1 full day, 21 hours and 18 minutes, officially setting a record for the longest Hearthstone turn ever taken. So what happened was, let's just scroll down here. Eurogamer reports that he played as a mage with a cooperative friend playing priest across the board. Mammy Twink set up as the side of the board with 7 Prophet Velen cards, using several faceless manipulators. Each Velen doubles the damage of spells, and then each Velen was given further buffs to increase the spell damage even further. As a result, a single Arcane Missiles card that would fire off 28,752 missiles instead of the usual 3. On top of that, Mammy Twink... He also played 9 Arcane Missiles in total. Grand result is 258,768 missiles, all firing individually and taking a few seconds each. His opponent, meanwhile, is using an Ice Block card to prevent fatal damage. That step was important because otherwise the turn would resolve after the first set of missiles killed him. This won't be the first time a Hearthstone player finds a clever way to keep the turn going for past the 9-second limit, and it happened previously, people are saying. Okay. So that's pretty funny. Well done to them for manipulating the game to do something unique and interesting and get some internet fame. Nice. Let's hear Octale make funny noises, please.
So, Octale, I don't know if you looked at the IRC as I sent you the requested verbiage from
seriously,
Hando.
You guys, I can't believe you're making me do this.
Well, please, we have fandom to support, and we need their love.
Quite, yes. Nothing is over. Nothing! You don't just turn it off. It wasn't my war. You asked me. I didn't ask you. And I did what I had to do to win, because somebody wouldn't let us win. And I come back to the world and I see all these maggots at the airport protesting me and spitting, calling me baby killer and all kinds of vile crap. Who are they to protest me? Who are they? Unless they've been me and been there and know what the hell they're talking about first, I will...
Oh, whoops. That was the end.
That was the end.
Yo. Say that one in the IRC, Todd.
Which one in the IRC?
The one I just pasted.
Where is yours?
Where is yours?
VTW IRC? Is it not there?
I don't see it. I don't see anything that says Go Hex.
Okay,
did you
Skype.
hit enter?
Skype. Yeah, it's there. I can see it.
Skype. Really? Can I say that?
It's a little... Can we do a mature warning? It's kind of worth it.
Well, get it out quick, because we need to end the show.
I'll do this real quick. In fact, I'll do this sanitized version so that we don't need the NSFW tags on the thing.
Okay.
What the F did you just effing say about me, you little bee? I'll have you know I graduated at the top of my class in the Navy SEALs, and I've been involved in numerous secret raids on Al-Qaeda, and I have over 300 confirmed kills. I am trained in guerrilla warfare, and I am the top sniper in the entire U.S. Armed Forces. You are nothing to me but just another target. I will wipe you the F out with precision, the likes of which you have never seen before on this earth. Mark my effing words. You will see. You think you can get away with saying that S to me over the internet? Think again, effer. As we speak, I am contacting my secret network of spies across the USA, and your IP is being traced right now, so you better prepare for the storm, maggot. The storm that wipes out the pathetic little thing you call your life. You're effing dead, kid. I can be anywhere, anytime, and I can kill you in 700 ways. And that's just with my bare hands.
Right.
Not only am I extensively trained
30 seconds. 30 seconds.
I can't
And
get
we
it.
gotta go.
Oh
We
my
gotta finish
God.
it. Ken, wrap it up. Thank you very much, Octale, for joining us today. Ken, you got 10 seconds. Give it to us so we can drop it off with the Alpha Geeks.
Okay, check us out on twitter.com/VTWShowX, twitter.com/GoX, twitter.com/DrTed, and twitter.com/Octale, the Octale, actually, I believe. Check us out on Facebook.com, check us on VTWProductions.com, see all the posts there, check out Tom Bad Guy and all the other shows as well on VTW Productions. We appreciate sending in emails to showx@VTWProductions.com and support us on Patreon, patreon.com/showx. Thank you very much for having me on the show, and nice of you to join us today, Todd.
Bye-bye. All right. Bye, everybody. We'll catch you again next week. Peace.
Bye. See you in the next zombie.